Welcome back, Galaxy Brains. We are Film Lovers Guide to the Galaxy. I'm always joined here by Jared and Joe, and today, in honor of Shang-Chi coming out and his first American movie appearance, we're doing a double feature on famous actor Tony Leung. If you guys watch a lot of Hong Kong, China cinema films, two movies we're talking about is 2006's Hero and 2013's The Grandmaster. But before we get all into that, Joe.
You know, it's quite a few things, but one of the things that someone brought up, and I thought it was interesting because I have a couple friends that are like vegetarian or vegan, and the most common thing I hear, and I'm not sure if this is like intentional or not, but oh, I'm doing it for the environment, and so that's fair. I want to say that there's no argument saying that if you eat less meat, your environmental impact from your per individual land goes down. And I have no problem with that. I think it's great to do. I think everyone should do their own part and things like that. But what I do have a problem with is all of these fucking big ass corporations putting out ads saying, hey, you should do your part. You should eat less meat. You should turn off your AC, all this shit. But data shows that corporations are responsible for 70% of the fucking CO2 emissions or all that kind of shit.
Yeah, me bringing some fucking plastic bags, some reusable
Yeah.
bags to the fucking grocery store isn't saving shit.
Right. And so I'm thinking like, why, and there's some stories where like in terms of, at a government level, they're like, all right, should we put more regulations? Are we going to be more lax on regulations on fucking airplanes and boats and shit? But, why is it in the US that recycling is not mandated? I always thought that was kind of weird. I know places like Germany, they're like, you have to recycle.
Brother, in Japan, you have to fucking separate them yourself.
Right,
from,
and they
like,
just pick
plastics
yeah,
and
you
this.
pick your shit
and
up.
You have to write your name on your trash. So if you don't do it right, they'll fucking bring it back
They'll
make
fine you,
do
right?
it. But yeah, it
Exactly.
is like the most like passive aggressive bullshit. When I lived there for a little bit, like just with my grandma and stuff, I never fucking wrote my name because I wasn't gonna give it to them. Fuck that.
Well, the point I'm making from an overall concept is this: why is it, at least in the U.S., like in terms of policy, why can't they say you have to recycle, like to force people to do this, to do their part, and then also put regulations on like fucking giant private planes on billionaires and shit like that, And we all know that politicians are bought out by money and shit, and that's probably why. But it's one of those things, right? So
Welcome to America.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking backwards half the time. So I'm not gonna. The point of this rant is this: I'm not gonna be mad at the people that say I eat less meat because of the environment. I believe that what they do makes a change of some sort, but you can't ignore the fact that corporations do half this bullshit, and we need to fix that shit. So that should be the target. I hate the shit about tweeting from was it BP? They're like, oh, everyone should do their part. Fuck you! Stop fucking dropping oil into the Gulf, you dipshits. Fucking morons.
Cool. So normally we would get into talking about what we watched this week with everyone. But Joe, you're going to have to deal with this with me and Jared for a little second. Jared, did we just watch one of the best pay-per-views in the past decade?
We watched the best pay-per-view of the last 20 years because AEW's All Out happened on Sunday, the Sunday after we record or before we recorded this. And I'm not gonna. So it was the biggest non-WWE pay-per-view in terms of buys, revenue. That's in the last 30 years. It is absolutely insane. The amount of talent that debuted on the show is outstanding. I mean, it was so fun to see pro wrestling like be exciting again. Like I was like, oh my god, like I was visibly freaking out. I was like, oh, like audibly emoting from the very beginning to the end. Like I believe we saw the best cage match ever ever performed. Like the Lucha Brothers against the Young Bucks. Like it was Super gnarly. Pentagon Jr. needed 7 staples in his head because he cut himself too deep. Yeah, we saw Ray Phoenix jump off a cage on top of the 4 guy or three brothers, catching him. I had so much fun watching that pay-per-view. It was like something I felt like a kid again, like watching like Stone Cold Steve Austin and all the other greats. Like I don't know. What was your favorite match, Johnny?
Oh, it was that cage match, man. I mean,
Yeah,
the Lucha, is it brothers or bros?
yeah,
Yeah.
Lucha Brothers.
And then versus the Young Bucks. Let me tell you, like, I think it is as good as that triple threat TLC match, if not better.
Oh man, that's not
Like,
even close.
like
It's
to me, the only reason why that TLC match is probably at top of my head is because of nostalgia. But
yeah,
like moment for moment, that match was the scene stealer, and it earned everybody's money. And I understand why, everyone's energy might have like got sapped after that match. But it was basically a 4-hour pay per view.
yeah.
We talked about this before about how you told me that there is a way to do an actual card lineup where everything can be good and still have its fill. And
Yeah.
to me, they did that, right? Because they had their big spot with that. So the next match that follows cannot either has to be something that tops it or it has to be something that kind of like flattens the energy, but then be able to pick it up. And having that women's Casino Royale worked well because the debut of Ruby Soho was so good. Like
Yeah, man.
I was very excited for that. But then we had the Punk Darby Allin match, and then we know that the championship match is happening after. So that's where I was like, oh, the Big Show match is going to be the one where people sit up and just kind of relax. But that was still a fun match for how short it is. It's a good reset. So the card from top to bottom was really good. The Miro match in the beginning I thought was solid. It is. You were talking about this earlier, and I 100% get it. How do you make a monster still be a monster yet give them a weakness? Because sometimes what happens when people build monsters is that once they lose to someone like regularly or whatever, it's like we forget they're a heel, and so we don't take them as serious enough. But the fact that they gave him one little weakness, which is to his neck, it
Yeah.
makes you kind of invested, and he still protects him as a heel, right? So I
Well,
absolutely
and
love this card.
like
So
people were complaining at the incompetence of the ref, and I'm like, that's the fucking story. I don't think you guys understand that the story of the match was that the only way he could beat beat Eddie is through bullshit and
yeah.
a low blow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the ref was trying to uphold the rules of the match. And it made it even deeper that Bryce, the referee, had known Eddie Kingston for 20 years. They'd been in the indies together. It made it so much better. So what's going to happen, I think Eddie is going to challenge, because they have a big Arthur Ashe Stadium show coming up. They've
Yeah.
sold 17,000 tickets there in a tennis arena. I can't fucking wait to see how that looks.
Yeah.
In New York, Eddie is from Queens or Yonkers or whatever. And I think to have a rematch in his hometown where he wins the belt is just going to be spectacular. Pro wrestling is not hard. Book good, strong baby faces to win in their hometown. Like AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday is a perfect example. Brian Pillman Jr. got beaten down in his hometown, but he has another match on Friday in his hometown where I assume he's going to win. It's not that hard when you don't make your fans resent you for shit. You book strong, like smart baby faces, like dastardly heels. It's just, it's all around good storytelling that attracts people. They hit their record, one of the biggest number of people they had ratings wise on Wednesday. And I just like, it's not hard to do good pro wrestling. And I feel people are having to like retrain their brain when they watch this stuff because they've put up with such terrible booking for the last 20 years with no competition. Like you'll just see stuff like that, and God,
Yeah, I mean, as someone as a Laps fan, I will tell you, like, I, you know, I know JR has lost a step here and there, but that commentary crew really helps the
yeah.
brand out a lot because they're not commentating based off of spectacle. They're actually like explaining things and kind of building both the face and the heel, which they should, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't seem like it's one sided one way or the other, but it gives more backside,
Yeah.
which I thought is cool.
Excalibur, the mask guy,
Mhm.
is the best play by play in wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And so he helps run a indie promotion called PWG
Mhm.
out of LA. And I saw the Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers and against Ricochet and Matt Sydal in a tornado tag team match one night in an American Legion hall, no air conditioning in the middle of the summer. And it was one of the greatest live experiences of my life. The Lucha Brothers won, and it was so fucking cool. Everybody was slamming the mat around ringside. We were throwing money in because, you know, in Mexico, you tip, you know, you
Yeah.
throw the money in for celebration. It was like, oh my God, pro wrestling is the greatest. Good pro wrestling is like, if you show anybody, if I show Joe right now, good pro wrestling, he would love the shit out of it.
Maybe.
No, but if you show him bad pro wrestling, there's nothing worse.
Yeah. So a couple of questions before we kind of go back here to Joe. One, the Jericho versus MJF match.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think that was the only one that wasn't booked right. I could see, I know why Jericho went over, but I think to cement, I mean, MJF is already top heel, right? He really is, but to like really like smash it over everyone's head, I thought him going over would have been
Yeah,
the
but the
perfect nail
stipulation
there.
was that Jericho would never wrestle again. And you can't, I mean, you can't, like, he's not ready
Understood.
to retire. And the whole thing about, you know, it was a dusty finish the other way. That's what they used to call a dusty finish back in the territory days in like Florida when Dusty Rhodes was booking. So MJF had beaten him 3 other times before. And I don't think this loss hurt him. But the only thing about this match is that everybody knew that Jericho was going to win.
Yeah.
So they weren't up for this match until the dusty finish where they restarted the match. So that to me, that's like the only like shortcoming of the match.
Yeah.
Is that.
Now, I will say the entrance, I thought with the guitar riff from his guitarist from Fozzy, I honestly, even though it seemed cool in the moment, the past couple weeks you heard live crowds sing his song as he's going into it, and I thought this is the time you can do it, because what was the pay-per-view before this? That he had a match where he couldn't use like the Judas.
It was a Dynamite.
Dynamite, right? Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, and then everyone started saying, I'm just like, I'm thinking that Chicago arena with those type of fans would have like blew the roof off, and I thought that would have been a much cooler thing to kind of do. Right? It's just the guitarist riff. It's just like drowned everything out at the end. First of all, Christian still's got. I mean, he's actually gotten better with age, and I think he's doing really well. But that whole ending was so damn good that I completely forgot which tunnel Adam Cole came from. Like,
yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But seeing Bryan Danielson come onto the stage was like, it was fun to see CM Punk back in the ring.
Yeah.
But to see Bryan Danielson now, it's like, holy shit, we actually have a full roster of people, both, you know, vets, older and young, that can do all this. I'm very excited. Pro wrestling is good.
Pro wrestling's good, great.
Hello, friends. My name is Amanda, and I am the host of the brand new podcast, The Sip List. Each week, my special guest and I will drink wine and count down our top 5 favorites of all the things. You can expect to hear us talk about subjects like movies, music, books, art, history, food, you name it, we're going to talk about it. You can find The Sip List on Facebook at The Sip List Pod, like the page, and join our private Facebook group for the latest up-to-date information and extra fun surprises. You can also find us on Instagram at The Sip List Pod and on Twitter at list_sip. I hope you'll join me on this fabulous adventure as we get a little tipsy, have lots of fun, and laugh with our friends. And until then, just remember, when life gets tough, just keep sipping.
All right, Joe, you just listened to a lot of pro wrestling, but you got a small game that you want us to try out. Tell me, what is it we're going to do here?
All right, so what it is, if people have been watching previous episodes, I'm clearly the dumb guy of the three here. Can't even compete with Cinephile. Not to say that the game is fantastic, but I'm in the deep end for the most part. So what I decided to do is put the two smart guys head to head. I'm gonna ask them just a couple questions. I have them listed down here. I want to say, and from my perspective, that these are in gradually increasing difficulty, but I don't know. We'll do it by either raising hand or saying something, whichever works. We'll figure it out. I guess we'll do raise hand, I guess. Okay. So basically what it is, it's just going to be a question. And I'll try my best to see who gets it, okay? You guys ready? Pierce Brosnan played James Bond. What was his very first movie? Johnny.
Okay. Fuck. I misinterpret the damn question because I was about to say GoldenEye, but that's not his first movie. That is his first Bond movie.
No.
Yes,
that's what the question is. Yeah, the first Bond movie.
GoldenEye.
But you raised your hand first. Yes, sure.
Wait. You said first movie.
I meant to say first Bond movie. My bad. Sorry. Well, if you want to toss that, it's fine. But
I toss it shit.
I have a few questions here. All right, here we go. The first and only woman of color to win an Oscar for Best Actress. Johnny again.
It's Halle Berry from Monsters Ball.
Correct. All right.
Best Actress. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, Jennifer Hudson,
All right, here we go. The first horror movie to win an Oscar. Jared?
Rosemary's Baby.
Nope. Johnny.
Silence of the Lambs.
Correct.
Even though I shouldn't classify that as a horror movie.
That's not a horror, bro.
I mean, look, that's how they did it back then. That's how it's been classified. If you guys want to argue with them, that's on you. But you guys probably, again, I'll admit, you guys know more than I do, so I'm not gonna.
So, it was a first win, not nomination.
Right, first horror movie to win an Oscar. Right. Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
Again, I still think these are easy to you guys, but here we go. In Jurassic Park, what was the name of the young girl, the daughter?
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, the daughter?
The daughter?
I'm sorry, the young girl. You know, there's a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
The young girl. The name of the young girl. Again, progressively more difficult. Sorry.
If someone's gonna get it, Jared's gonna get it.
I'll take a first name or last name.
I am fond of Jurassic Park, but I don't remember the daughter's name.
Is it Ellie?
Sort of close. I mean,
Emma?
No, it's not that close like that.
Ellen?
It starts with an L, if that helps.
Oh, no. Ellie was Dr. Sattler. Duh. Shit.
Yeah,
I just read this book again.
Dude, this guy, he reads everything, too.
Lexi. Lex?
Correct. Lex Murphy. So I'm gonna count that as so it's 3-1. I mean 2-1. I'm gonna really get rid of the first one. Which movie star is killed off in the opening scene of Scream?
Drew Barrymore.
Correct. Man, I'll keep going here. I don't know if I think honestly you guys both know it, just Johnny's better with the clicking. This is the first sports film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture. Jared. What'd you say?
Brian's Song?
Did the movie? No.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No.
Rocky?
Correct.
Fuck. Brian's Song was not... I don't know why I thought about that movie.
He got nominated?
Did he get nominated?
I didn't think that song... not the song. I didn't know that movie got nominated.
By the way... Oh, wait. No. It was a network movie. That's what it was.
Okay.
By the way, that movie is fucking sad.
Yeah, it is. That That is a sad movie.
All right, here we go. Let's keep on going. We have just a couple more here. I'll try to keep it quick. The first and only animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beast.
Correct. Jared did. Yeah, wow. Quick.
Yeah.
Here we go. This might be a little bit easy. What movie did Tom Hanks score his very first Academy Award nomination?
Philadelphia.
Nope.
Big.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
His first win was like probably Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's for nominations. All right, here we go. Three more, but Johnny has quite a significant lead. I felt like this one was a little bit more difficult. The first movie to ever use profanity. And if you guys don't know, I'll tell you what the profanity is.
What is the profanity?
Damn.
Gone with the Wind.
Correct.
Son of a bitch.
All right, two more. Here we go. Who is the only actor to receive an Oscar nominations for acting in the Lord of the Rings movie?
Oh, shit.
Jared?
Viggo Mortensen?
Nope.
Oh, then it's Ian McKellen.
Correct.
He got nominated for Gandalf?
Which one?
It probably was, if it's not the first one, then it has to be Return of the King. I'm pretty sure it's the first one. Johnny of the Ring.
I just have one more here, and then I think Johnny pretty much takes it here, but here we go. I figured out, since we just talked about Jaws sort of throughout the week, what is the name of Quint's shark hunting boat in Jaws?
The Orca.
Correct. Now, feedback, were those questions too easy?
No, they were fine.
No.
Okay, right about par. Okay, great, fantastic. So, again, as you guys can see, I thought these, I want to say 70% of these questions I would not have gotten. These guys got it like that. So it just sort of shows the gap between knowledge, I gotta say, if anything.
I think if it's history of movies, I might have a slight edge. But if it's something specifically about the movie, Jared has it, because I would have to really, really think about that movie.
If we do this again, I'll go ahead and try to balance it a little bit more. But Johnny takes it this round. Congratulations, Johnny.
All right, you guys. So our double feature, we're going to talk about two movies that Tony Leung has starred in. So Tony Leung, he's a famous actor in Hong Kong, China. He's really associated with famous director Wong Kar-wai in movies like 2046, Buried Nights, things like that. Reason why we're doing him is because he made his first actual American appearance in a movie for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings that came out this past week, which, by the way, I saw, and I think it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that. Let us know.
Saw it last night. I will say the only thing I don't like is that it ran a little too long. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. And I'll tell you why I enjoyed it. One, I think we remember when we lamented Mulan. One of the things I lamented about Mulan is that it tried to be, I get it, it's trying to attract a different audience base. But the fact that they spoke English the whole time kind of really threw me off. This movie is 60-40 English. 40% of the time, they were speaking Mandarin. And I thought that was actually fantastic. The times when they were actually speaking English was to set up a joke or to explain a plot. So when the emotions of the through line of the movie happens, they're actually speaking Mandarin, which actually I thought was fantastic. The fight scenes were pretty good. The ending is like any Marvel ending with a bunch of CGI, but at that point I didn't really care because I was really invested into the movie. Similu, I don't know how to pronounce his first name. He's really good as Shang-Chi. I think if he is one of the new faces of this new phase of the MCU, I'm very happy about that for him to be there. Tony Leung is one of the best bad guys that they have realized in the MCU, and I'm very glad that he is a part of this movie. I cannot recommend it enough if you guys want to go watch it. If not, in about 37 days, this movie will come out on Disney Plus, so you will be able to watch it then. And like I said, if you don't go to the theater and you wait till Disney Plus, which I'm very excited for both these guys to see when it does come out, we'll talk about it again.
We must talk about it setting the record for Labor Day weekend. That's fucking phenomenal for this movie.
Yes. And during a pandemic, getting 90 million over the 3-day Labor Day weekend is just fantastic.
Dude.
And I think this is going to have a lot of legs. It's going to have a lot of word of mouth.
Do you know what that makes me hopeful for?
Dune?
Motherfucking Dune. Because the reviews came out for it,
Hmm.
and like I discarded the dumb ones, and well,
Just
because they're like,
all the negative ones.
oh, it just ended. You know, it's like the
No,
when Lord of the like
yeah.
Lord of the Rings, the first one that came. Oh, it just ended, motherfucker! It's part one of a story.
I mean, you guys, mark your calendars down. On the movie Dune comes out on the 22nd. We
Yeah,
will
buddy.
record this episode on 28th, so it comes out on like November 4th. I'm telling you, this is an episode that if you're a big fan of Dune, you're gonna see Jared just ride us into it, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
mark your calendars, then that's when we're gonna actually talk about all that. But we have this double feature. So the first movie I'm gonna talk about is Hero. Came out in 2002 in China. It actually stars also with Tony Leung, Jet Li, Maggie Chung, Donnie Yen, famous director Zhang Zimu, and it kind of talks about when there was the King of Quinn, right? He was taking over China through different provinces. A soldier named Nameless kind of murdered these three assassins that are trying to infiltrate his army, and then you kind of get a retelling of story that happens. So, Jared, I'll start with you. What did you think of this movie? I know this is your first time watching it.
Oh no, actually, I just remembered when I finished it. I had seen it in um 2005 when I was dating my girlfriend at the time, um or my ex girl. I don't know what you say. She like would show me all these movies. Like her mom would get. She was Thai, and whenever she'd come back from Thailand, she'd come with a big fucking grip of movies, right?
Yeah.
So I fucking saw Shaolin Soccer on a bootleg
Mhm.
DVD. I saw fucking Kung Fu Hustle on a bootleg DVD. So I saw this and a bunch of other stuff on bootleg DVDs. But it was basically like I was watching it for the first time. I really enjoy these types of movies. I don't know what like whether it's like you'd call it like whimsy or whatever, but like the fluidity of their movements and everything like that. Like it. Do you remember when everybody was fucking obsessed with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Like it was the
Mhm.
first time white people were like, "Oh my god," you know.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. Like I really got back in the day, that spear scene when all those spears are flying through the air,
Mhm.
that was like the pinnacle of like CGI. You're like, oh fuck, this looks amazing. But like you watch the clip now and it's like, oh, like that's nice. You know.
Yeah.
Are you guys big Jet Li fans?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Jet Li fan.
Yeah.
And to me, I think this is his best movie.
That's exactly what I was just about to
Because
say.
it's one of the few movies where it actually asks him to actually act, and it it works
Totally.
really well.
Do you remember when this came out in the States, what the big deal of behind it was? Do you remember?
Some
I
sort
did
of political statement.
No. It was a Quentin Tarantino presents.
Yes, that's what I remember when it first came out. I got the bootleg as well when I saw this. So because that one came out in like 2004, this movie was out in 2002. So like I saw it a little bit before then. But yeah, it just had the whole Miramax thing, and I'm pretty sure Quentin Tarantino was like, I fucking love this movie. We need to like get it over in the States and kind of do that. Before I go to Joe, I'll tell you, like, I was very excited because I didn't know if you guys saw this movie yet or not. And,
Yeah.
like I said, we're doing Tony Leung. This movie, like, I'll say it here, like, if I did my top 50 list of my favorite movies of all time, this is a part of the top 50. Like, I absolutely love this movie.
Interesting. I love the Jet Li Donnie Yen scene.
Oh, yeah. It's so good.
Just super badass.
Yeah.
That's why you watch these movies, because it's so crazy and ridiculous, but also like, hell yeah, there's some water, there's a sword, there's a fucking spear with a blade on the end of it, there's a go table for some reason, like I am into this kind of shit.
Yeah, and I just love the cinematography of this, the use of colors. It's just so
Yeah.
bright and
Oh
vibrant,
yeah.
and it separates the actual moods as it's telling its story, which I thought was fantastic. It has a small score because it has only one theme, but it
Yeah.
uses that theme really well throughout the whole movie, depending on what it is. Like I said, I love the whole cast in this movie. Donnie Yen was there for very little, but having Jet Li, Tony Leung, and Maggie Chung, if you guys have watched Police Story, this is where she is usually more famous for. But in this movie, she's like, they're so good in this movie. And then, you have Zhang Ziyi. I completely forgot she was in this movie too, and everyone remember her from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
You said
Like
Police
that.
Story. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Oh, love Police Story. We're going to have to do a rewatch of that. Joe, what did you think of this movie? I know this is your first time watching it, so.
I think I love Chinese kung fu movies in general, and I think this is a pretty good representation of what like a sort of classic Chinese martial arts kung fu movie is. And I think the themes, like you said, the only thing is maybe the CGI hasn't held up as well throughout the times and things like that. But that's sort of for me, that's something I can completely ignore altogether. And I think overall the story is fantastic. The actors all in it are fantastic. The use of colors, use of all that kind of stuff. The grandiose idea of having 1,000 dudes in a shot or whatever it is really cool. The concepts behind all the different kinds of martial arts is really cool. So I really liked it. I think for the fact that it came out, with 2002. My God, it's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Assuming that, yes, I think it did well, and I think that for a lot of people who are like, oh, let's go watch a kung fu movie that's not necessarily set in the 80s. This is like, it'll hit that spot for those who haven't watched it. And at no point in this movie I thought I was like, oh, it's kind of getting too long or it's getting kind of boring. It had just sort of a good balance of everything, good balance of a lot of martial arts, good balance of storytelling, good balance of all that kind of stuff. So thumbs up across the board for me for this movie.
What is your guys' favorite moment in the movie? Is there any scene that kind of sticks out to you as you're watching?
Yeah, I think it's the fight between him and Donnie Yen or Yen. Sorry, Donnie Yen. Like that's why I watch these movies. Like, it goes in a fucking black and white, and they're sitting there like
And they're fighting with their mind, technically.
They're fighting with
right?
their minds, and it's like, hell yeah, that old guy's playing the instrument,
Mm-hmm.
and like at one point, Donnie Yen is upside down doing the splits with his like bendy spear thing, and it's just really fucking cool. It's like, it's different, from like Ip Man. Like, I like that movie for a different reason, but like, I said it's like whimsical before, but like, I don't know another word to describe that style of like movement and moving around and like just like anime but real.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part. Or like the massive spears where he's just that whole thing.
What about you, Joe?
Was that scene the longest fight scene in the movie though? I'm thinking about it because it went out. It was good. It went out for a while.
Yeah, I mean, because it started with the soldiers coming in first, and then after that, then Jet Li came in and they had their fight.
So would you guys? So speaking of, Joe, you said you touched on something just now of like, is that the longest fight scene? Would you rather there be fewer fight scenes but longer, or shorter fight scenes
but more frequent?
Because I'm thinking about like movies like this, and like then like versus like The Raid, where The Raid is like
the whole thing's a fucking
it's just like you're exhausted afterward.
I think for me personally, just somewhere in the middle. I think Raid was fun to watch, but you got to sort of keep with it the whole time, or take a break, I guess. At the same time, I feel like the big thing, and this might be slightly off topic, but the biggest thing about American martial art movies is that a lot of the actors aren't probably as trained in martial arts, so they do a lot of cuts, right, to make it look like.
The
And I
Paul
could
Green
really
Dash special.
right,
So
and I can really respect any kind of film that has sort of like a long shot continuous. Really shows that they know their shit. So. In regard to your question, I think I'd probably prefer something in the middle. And I think again, this movie did a good job of not going too extreme on either end. But just to the original question, my favorite scene outside of that one was the teacup scene where he just busts ass, destroy the whole library or whatever it is.
yeah,
Cool as fuck. Obviously, there's some CG involved and all that kind of stuff, but the concept is cool. The colors are cool. Again, I really like that they changed from red to white to green to blue. It's super cool. I like that, and that's my favorite scene outside of the long fight scene.
I think just I'm bringing it back to pro wrestling. I think that you really have to pace these fight scenes well.
hmm
I was speaking to how exhausted I was after the raid. The raid was fucking great, but it so easily could have gotten self-indulgent because it goes one or two fight scenes go on for too long and then you're exhausted. It's like pro wrestling. You have too many kickouts. You have too many just like, oh God, just get it over with at a certain point,
yeah.
And I think we've all been in movies where the fight scenes have gone on too long or like the gunfights or whatever.
hmm
And you're just like, fuck, like just get it going,
Yeah, I think the fight scenes in this movie specifically, and the reasons why I do like them, is that there is meaning to the fights. Like I love the raid, but that is like adrenaline on adrenaline. Same thing with like John Wick. It's like adrenaline on adrenaline. So you're kind of building the pace as you kind of move up along, right? But with something like this, it's more like you use the fight to pace your story, and it actually makes sense because it follows the themes of what's going on.
We just watched John Wick this past week. It was my
Mhm.
girlfriend's first time like really seeing it all the way through.
Okay.
Like the whole
Yeah,
all.
like number one. She had
Okay,
not
okay.
seen it all the way through. God, that movie is just beautifully choreographed.
It is.
Just everything. And that's another thing. Like you could have gotten so tired of just John Wick doing shit. Like I guess like you could have gotten tired of that. I wouldn't. But I'm sure there's a way where you can make it where it's just like, ugh, okay, we get it. But the pacing is so nice. The attention to detail is so nice. And like partway, like there's so much unknown about what I think helps that John Wick is like this underworld of like currency between all of these assassins. There's
World
rules.
building. The
And
overall
yeah,
world
the
building
world
is
trying to
amazing.
keep up, which is making you think about that as well as cool shit happening on the screen. It's just so well done.
Speaking of which, Matrix trailer came out too, by the way.
I haven't watched it yet, so
I was not impressed.
I'm just saying it's hard. Check it out at some point, but go ahead, Johnny.
Joe, you saw the trailer?
I have saw the trailer, yeah.
What do you, like? I didn't think it was good. I watched it and I went,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a route they're
here's
going.
the thing though. It's hard to make another movie that far later and make it good. I'm really hoping, again, I think it was supposed to be like an announcement trailer or a teaser trailer. I'm just gonna be like, it is what it is. I'm gonna hold all my shit until I watch the movie.
give me a letter grade for Hero.
Oh, it's an A. Absolutely an A.
Yep, I would say A to an A plus if that was an option. Again, it just, I think personally, it just sets the standard for what a good kung fu movie should be, and that really deserves a really high grade in my book.
Top 50 favorite film for me. It's an A plus. Like that's my grade on it. So now we're going to talk about another movie that Tony Leung was in where he's the star of. It's The Grandmaster. Came out in 2013. It is about Wing Chun's the Grandmaster himself, Ip Man. Ip Man is more famously portrayed by Donnie Yen, who was also in the same movie in Hero as well. But this movie, like I said, is directed by Wong Kar-wai. Wong Kar-wai is a lot more emotional. That's like the wrong word, but he is more, not so much the action director. He's much more the drama, the mood, the setting of it. So The Grandmaster kind of follows kind of part of that history, told through flashbacks and experiences as well, with his marriage to Chung Wing Sing. I think that's her name. I'm butchering these names, but forgive me when I say this. Joe, you saw this movie. What did you think of it?
Also, keep in mind that I watched Ip Man prior to this, from a chronological standpoint. The only thing with movies like this for me is purely based on my own ignorance. They'll talk about this is the northern style, and this is the southern style. This is the different schools of stuff. I have to assume that these are all factually accurate. That's my assumption going in. I'm gonna, because it's a Chinese film. I'm never gonna assume they're gonna just Hollywood it up per se. So, I very much enjoy these kinds of movies. The only thing is I sort of get lost in all of the technicalities and vocabulary of all the stuff because they do talk about that a lot. But from a cinematography standpoint, really fun. From a hand-to-hand combat standpoint, super cool. Tony Leung, I think, portrays him really well. Although I do have to say that the Ip Man movie is better, in my opinion, but that's probably for something else. And overall storytelling and the whole idea of love and family lost and the story of it was very, very good to watch. And that's just sort of my overall opinions on things.
Yeah, so this movie, I enjoyed it the second time around. I remember watching it in theaters the first time, and I thought it is beautifully shot. And, it's one of the few foreign films that got nominated for an Oscar for Best Cinematography. So, it actually got nominated for 3 Oscars that year. I'm very shocked. That, costume design, and Best Foreign Film. And we said, Tony Leung, to me, he's such a great actor, and he inhibited a lot what Ip Man was. But sometimes I think I had to readjust the second time I watched it this time around, because I think the first time I watched it, I was very spoiled by Donnie Yen's Ip Man, because it was like, oh, it's more martial arts than anything else, right? But instead, this was more a personal drama, and for me to allow it to kind of take over, I thought in second viewing, since I haven't watched this in like 6 years, I thought it was better movie than I first initially thought. I still think the Ip Man movies with Donnie Yen are better. At least the first one is. I don't know about the subsequent sequels after that. But this movie is just a little bit different relative to how the Ip Man movies with Donnie Yen was kind of portraying. Who do you think, not so much as the martial artist, but as the person that portrays in their films, which one do you think does a better job, Donnie Yen or Tony Leung?
I mean, are you comparing it to who Ip Man actually was historically?
I think much more of a preference. Who do you see more? Because it's rare for me to see a movie about a same character played by different people within the same time frame.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I think I'm just be biased, but Donnie Yen, personally. But I think it can go both ways. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really can't put a finger on it. But just overall, I'm a Donnie Yen guy. And and the movies were a bit more interesting to watch, I think, for Ip Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just the other question I was sort of bringing up is this. And Ip Man, historically, he was like a wushu or Chinese martial arts master. I get it. That being said, historically, from a Chinese history, there must be tons of martial arts masters. Is he only interesting have interest because of Bruce Lee? That's my question.
Oh yeah. So I think Bruce Lee was the gateway for him for us to know his story. But now as much as I love Bruce Lee, it's like I don't think of Ip Man specifically associated with Bruce Lee. It's like at this point, it's like him as himself. Just a side note is that he taught Bruce Lee. But but I think you're right. Where like we probably wouldn't have known him if it wasn't for Bruce Lee at all. Like we probably wouldn't tell his story. Things like that.
Because the whole idea is Bruce Lee just exploded into the scene, right, in movies and things like that, and he was very popular and very fun to watch. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not was that good for Chinese martial arts overall, because they always boast being very, very modest, very not, don't be so boastful,
Mhm.
avoid being flashy and stuff. So, but it did bring a lot of attention to it. I guess that's a good thing. I just don't know from a completely ignorant point of view. So, but
Yeah.
I'm glad good movies came out of it. That's
Yeah. So give me a letter grade, Joe. What do you think of this movie?
For the Grandmaster, I want to say it's not as good as Hero, but it was very good. Let's go with a B plus,
Okay.
B plus A minus, whatever 89%. That's
Yeah.
what I'll give it. Yeah.
We'll give it. I will give it a solid B. I think the acting and the cinematography kind of blows it away. The martial arts itself was kind of it was competently done. I don't think it like wowed me as much as more of the filming itself. I remember 6 years ago because I saw this tweet and or Facebook reminds me of like shit I wrote back then.
Yeah,
But
it's awesome.
literally like a couple weeks ago, it reminded me that I said Grandmaster was very disappointing. I gave it like a C minus, but
Oh, okay.
rewatching it again made me realize I'm like I think I came into that movie with a different expectation that I shouldn't have, and then now rewatching, I'm like, this movie is pretty good. It's just that I was expecting Ip Man, and I
Your
got
tastes have changed because you're
it.
older now.
It
You're
could be
thinking
as
about it.
well. I just think that sometimes when you go into the movie with the wrong mindset, like I was expecting way something else, and I should have known within the first 5 minutes that this was going to be a completely type of different movie. I should
Okay.
have reset my brain. So
Well,
because
a lot
usually
of movies
when
do.
most movies within the first 5-10 minutes, it's telling you what it's kind of be. And
Okay.
if you don't vibe with it, then that's kind of now on you, and you kind of accept it for what it is. But yeah, I give it a B. It's a solid movie.
Yeah, it's good movie. Good movie. I recommend it to anyone who's into Chinese kung fu stuff. I think historically it tells you a lot of stuff and a lot of good hand-to-hand combat, a lot of good scenery. So good stuff. Check it out.
All right, you guys. So that was our double feature. Joe, where can they find us?
Uh, you could find us on social media. Please tweet at us. Say whatever you like. Give us suggestions for your favorite Chinese kung fu movie at Film Lovers GTTG. You can also email us at filmloverspod@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concern, any of those sort of things. And I guess in the coming future, tell us what you think of the Shang-Chi movie, the Marvel movie with Simu Liu, which I'm very happy that he finally got his big first acting gig. Huge ups to him. Always happy about that. At Film Lovers GTDG.
You can find me tweeting about pro wrestling because I'm not embarrassed about it anymore because shit is good at jluthy, JLUTHY on Twitter. Follow me there, and I will be talking a lot about Dune soon. I just about finished with my third reread of the book. I don't know if I'll go to Messiah, Children of Dune, or God Emperor of Dune. This time I might just hold off on that because I'm a little duned out with reading at the moment. But yeah, tweet me some book recommendations.
I'm very disappointed. Usually, in every recording, I would hear two things from Jared. One, talking about Dune. Two, don't follow him on Instagram because he won't follow back.
Absolutely don't follow me on Instagram. I was thinking about saying that again.
If you guys find me, Twitter, Instagram, at JNGO11, that's JNO11. We do have a Facebook page as well, along with
Oh
everything. So,
yeah.
Film Lovers GTTG, that is the handle for everything across the board. Also, want to say, you guys, if you guys have still trying to figure out what kind of pod cast player you guys are trying to use, I would give Good Pods a heads up. It is a great podcast app that helps kind of discover a lot of indie podcasts like us. You guys that have downloaded before have made us number one under the TV film category for over 2 straight weeks. We've been in the top 5 and top 100 shows since the month of September has started. Like I said, leave us a review, hit us with a listen, hit with a download. All that stuff will help us get discovered more if you guys like the content you're getting. But until next week, where we will actually talk about a franchise that is starring its last Daniel Craig movie in the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about our top 5 James Bond movies. I know we're bringing the top 5 back. But until then, we'll talk to you next week.